Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. As y'all can see on the screen, today, won't make this video too long, but I do want to talk about Jamie Foxx and the new movie they cloned, Tyrone. First thing first, as a lot of you probably seen by now, Jamie Foxx, he dropped the video where this screenshot comes from on his IG page on Friday. So 3 days ago, which went right along with the release of the movie. And we kind of talked about this the last time we talked about Jamie Foxx on how, they first started taking pictures of him. And, I guess him and his people, his handlers, allowing, regular people to take pics of him about a week. I think that was about a week or so ago before the movie came out. So, just so coincidentally, pictures started coming out. Remember the one where he was on the boat, the one where he was getting into the car? That's obviously them allowing pictures to go out into the internet so people can finally see him. Because even in this little video he recorded, he said his daughter and the people around him kept it tight. They didn't want to show him, he didn't want to be in the public eye, so on and so on. And remember, I talked about it. I talked about the fact that, it's just real funny that they started to do all of this around the movie. Now, we already know Hollywood. We know how these things go. These people use this kind of stuff as a center for kind of like free marketing, free promotion. This clip on IG, it sits at 10.5 million views. I think it's the most viewed thing on his page, even more than the trailer he posted for the movie. So imagine what this creates for the movie. This will probably be one of the biggest drops on Netflix in a long time, just because of the conspiracy theories and so on that's going around Jamie Foxx actually being a clone in real life. So there's like 2 to 3 different, kind of like plays that's going on with this movie. This is orchestrated. This is all, this is all planned for sure. And in this video, you can't help but just look at Jamie Foxx, and he just doesn't really look like himself. There's almost no color in his face. Now, you could say maybe this is the lighting. Maybe, whatever room he's in with that kind of lighting is making his face look so pale and light. Maybe he really was sick. You could point out all kind of stuff to get us to, to the point of believing that this is the real Jamie Foxx or not. You could point out a couple of different things, but he definitely doesn't really look like himself. Even if you do a side by side of him, his ears look a lot smaller in this photo of him during the video. A lot of things just look a little bit off. But I think the bigger picture is the movie. The fact that he decided to do this video, it's almost like a smack in the face. It's like they really smacking us in the face. It's not, it's not a play on it. They're really slapping you right now, like literally just bow, like hitting you right in the face. Him and his handlers said, we're going to wait until the day the movie comes out for you to go on camera when you could have went on camera. His excuse was, I didn't want y'all to see me like that. This and that. Of course, nobody wants to be seen that way if you were even in a hospital, but he had plenty time to do it since he's been out. He could have did it when he was first being seen on a boat. You've been on a boat and all that good stuff. So you've been able to come to IG. So why wait till the day that the movie comes out? Clearly that is for promotional type purposes. And it just increases what they're going to make off of they clone Tyrone. When you go to the movie is also another slap in the face. I have watched the movie now, just to not bring up anything else that has to do with cloning and so on with Jamie Foxx. It was a pretty good movie. If you're just looking at it from watching a movie that you've never seen, it was actually a pretty good movie, and it had a lot of messages in the movie as well, especially geared toward Black people and the so-called hood. I guess if you want to put it in better terms, like poverty-stricken areas. And so if you have watched the movie by now, you saw what the movie was basically about. It was about mind control, and it was also about clones and how it goes to, black people, because they were basically using mind control techniques through a powder. In the beginning of the movie, when they first, when the main character, Fontaine, when he first started being aware that something was off, and he was investigating, trying to find out what the hell was going on, they got into this laboratory that was in a trap house, basically. All the secret doors to their laboratories were in places that were like super odd. One was in a trap house. One was in a church. One was in a strip club. So it's like hella symbolism throughout the movie. But there was a powder at the laboratory that Jamie Foxx decided to try out. He tried it out because he was thinking it was dope, because he was a pimp, and Fontaine was dope dealer, same thing with Jamie Foxx. That's what they did in the movie, blah, 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 right? So the powder, at the time, he didn't know it was basically a mind control type of powder, used in like different kind of ways for mind control. Jamie Foxx started laughing a lot and started being real giggly and stuff, and flinchy and things like that when he took the powder, right? Which caused him to shoot the dude that was at the lab tech. So, not to try to explain the entire movie, get to the points of it. That powder, later on, a couple of scenes later, they were at a chicken spot. This is kind of like, more symbolism to the entire story. They were at a chicken spot. The chicken was made with the same powder that was in the laboratory. Jamie Foxx noticed that Fontaine was laughing, and he'd never seen him even crack a smile before. The entire restaurant was actually laughing as well. Notice this was in a black neighborhood, a predominantly black neighborhood. Everybody in there eating good old chicken and laughing and giggling and so on, while the people that are running, the lab and running the mind control experiments, they're watching them to see how they react off of this powder. And that's kind of like more symbolism, because, black people love chicken. And that's why they run the experiments on black people. You know what I'm saying? So also with the powder, they used it in other places as well. They used it in perms. Another kind of hit at black people, because at one point, a lot of black women used to get their hairs permed all the damn time. And they also used it in a drink. And that's where they showed the scene in the church where everybody was being all happy and praising Jesus and doing all this extra stuff because they were off of something that they didn't really know when they were drinking the grape juice in the church. It was all coming from the powder. I guess we can call it this mind control type of powder that they were running experiments on using the powder. So it was like two different kind of themes going on in the movie. There was mind control. They were experimenting on mind control with black people. And it was also cloning, where it goes to, kind of like the biggest slap in the face, because, just like we talked about in the last video where I was talking about Jamie Foxx, everything has been about cloning and whether or not Jamie Foxx is going to come back as him real self, while at the same time, a movie drops about cloning. That's the biggest thing we have here right now. Like the dude Fontaine, he was the main character. His body was cloned multiple times. When you watch the movie, you're gonna realize, and this is super spoiler alerts. So if y'all ain't watched this movie, you might not want to listen to this video yet. Just to let you know, I probably should have been said that. He was cloned a bunch of different times. The entire time, the main character wasn't actually the real Fontaine until you get to the end of the movie. And it turns out the real guy was actually the geneticist who was behind the technology of creating the clones in the first place. So it was a black doctor. So the guy you're seeing with the twisties in his hair right now on the screen, he wasn't even his actual self the entire movie. He was a clone the entire time. And Jamie Foxx was a clone the entire time as well. So when you watch this movie, Jamie Foxx starts off as a clone. How we know that? Because in that one scene where the handler the white guy, when they were in the middle of the road and they were being chased by a bunch of people coming from the club. Remember, I can't remember the code word that he said. He said that code word, and it's basically like the mind control thing where when you say a certain word, you can now take control of the clone. Well, when he said that word, I forget what he said. Damn, I forget what he said. When he said that word, though, Jamie Foxx and Fontaine, the guy in the green jacket right here, they froze. And now they were basically under full control because they were clones. This is the big factor about this movie. Now, check this out. The girl right here, which was the prostitute in the movie, she was free. When he said the word, she didn't freeze. She didn't go under mind control. Why? Because she wasn't a clone in the movie. They never cloned her. So this how it relates back to real life and the real shit that Jamie Foxx is a part of right now with this topic. Because check this out. They made it clear that Fontaine was cloned from the beginning. Why? Because Fontaine got shot 6 times. Y'all remember that, right? He got shot 6 times. Now, when the first time they went into the lab, right here in this picture, Fontaine found his original self that had first got shot. Not the original copy of Fontaine, but the first Fontaine we saw when the movie dropped and started. He was looking at himself, the version that got shot 6 times. He like, damn, this is me. Now, they never actually tell us that Jamie Foxx is a clone until the part of the movie where they're seeing all of the tanks of people. The city was called Glen. So in the movie, the city was called Glen. And there was a bunch of people underground, certain people that they had multiple copies of. And they showed there was 1 extra copy of Jamie Foxx, multiple copies of Fontaine, multiple copies of other people, but we only saw 1 extra copy of Jamie Foxx. That was when we knew they had Jamie Foxx cloned. But the big piece here that we're not, you may not be thinking about, like I said, you have to watch the movie. If you have, you'll be able to tell. They never actually, he started the movie off as a clone, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. So it relates back to real life because it's almost like in the movie, you wouldn't have caught that Jamie Foxx was a clone the entire time unless you realize he froze when the dude said the mind control word to start taking control of the clones. Y'all remember at the end of the movie, Fontaine used the word on the clone, the butler clone of himself, and the butler ended up killing his original copy, the doctor. So that word was the key word for all of the clones to be taken under mind control, basically. So think about that. That's, the symbolism is actually crazy from the movie because literally it's a smack in the face. They're literally telling us Jamie Foxx is cloned. Jamie Foxx is the main star of this movie, Like people may know Fontaine. I forget what his name is, but he's becoming more of a well-known actor. He's in a couple other things as well. But this is about Jamie Foxx. Is what this movie is really about. And it really kind of blew my mind that Jamie was actually a clone the entire movie. It wasn't Jamie Foxx got captured and then he became a clone. It was none of that. He was a clone the entire movie, y'all. He started as a clone, and you see it once you get toward the middle of the movie that he froze when they said the keyword to put them under mind control. And also in the laboratories, there was 1 extra copy of Jamie Foxx. Just that 1 extra copy. So that tells us a lot about what actually happened with the real Jamie Foxx in real life. And we already know duplicate cloning is been done, y'all. It's been happened. I was about to say 100 years ago, but it been happened a long time, decades ago. This kind of technology has existed for a long time, and we cannot for 1 second think that Jamie Foxx is not a clone. You just never know, y'all. You literally, you're going to be looking at the exact copy of the original one with slight differences, but the differences will drive you crazy, and it will really make you think that this is the real person, because something so slight is very hard to convince your mind that this is a different person and it's a clone of the original copy. They know how the mind and the brain works. That's why a lot of people don't believe in this stuff, because if you see one thing that looks like the original Jamie Foxx, you're not going to believe it's a clone. You're like, well, the eyebrows are the same. Well, the mouth do look the same. Well, his hairline look the same. Then you're going to be like, you know what? Nah, this ain't no damn clone. I'm tripping. But you have to understand that technology is so far advanced that they literally make an exact copy. Y'all, this shit is real. And then you saw they basically uploaded the memories into Fontaine every time he was killed, because they was watching everything. So if Fontaine got killed the time where he faked his death, they did the same thing. They woke up a new clone, planted the memories in his brain, in his consciousness, and that's how he became Fontaine again. And that's why the movie is actually crazy. He was being played that his own mama wasn't even his mama. It was a recording of his mama. He just never opened the door until that one scene where he was like, fuck it, I'm finna kick down the door. It's actually insane. And then at the end of the movie, because y'all got to remember, they said they had cloned those laboratories all around the states. Chicago, L.A. Then it gets to the end of the movie, and there is another clone of Fontaine. But this time, the clone in L.A. was not Fontaine. His name was Tyrone. And that is where the title comes from. They cloned Tyrone. He was looking at himself on the TV. So, because the whole time watching the movie, I'm wondering, like, where's this Tyrone thing coming from? Boom. That's why I was like, all right, I'm not going to lie. Without looking at all of this stuff that we be on, it was a good movie, like, in my opinion. If y'all ain't like it, whatever. It was a good movie. The way they added that twist at the end, you know, where the real Tyrone in L.A. was looking at himself, that was Tyrone. So it was a bunch of Tyrone clones as well in L.A. At the end of the movie, that I was like, oh damn, all right, this is a pretty good movie. I ain't even gonna lie. But yeah, man. But yeah, y'all, the movie, hella symbolism, especially with them running the experiments in, low poverty type neighborhoods. They're basically telling you how they have done these experiments, and they really have. That's why they used a white powder, because it was the same thing with crack cocaine and crack back in the 80s. Same shit. It's hella symbolism all across the board that doesn't even tie directly to cloning. The same way the CIA pushed in crack in black neighborhoods and turned everybody and their moms to crack heads and crack babies. It's all the same. That's why they chose a white powder to represent the mind control shit that they were doing in the movie. It's pretty deep. The movie is deep. I'm not gonna lie. And at the end of the day, that is what Snowfall was about as well. It's about how they introduced crack to the hood, basically. To the hood. To where black people mostly lived. That's what they did. So yeah, y'all, like I said, I didn't want to make this video crazy long. I don't know what I'm at right now. I feel like I'm at like 15 plus minutes. I don't know. But yeah, man, y'all give me y'all opinions on the movie. Anything I might have missed, any kind of symbolism I might have missed and didn't quite touch in this video, y'all be sure to let me know in the comments. I tried to get that Lynn Bias video out to y'all yesterday, but when I uploaded it, I have to get it reviewed by YouTube so it doesn't have any restrictions, and that usually takes a few days if you don't get it uploaded before the weekend hits. So I'm waiting on that video. Y'all will get that video. Y'all also get, I'm also going to put the Donald Marshall Part 2 video up as well, which it'll probably go on Patreon first. So, just so y'all know, sometimes I do videos that are early access. Sometimes I do videos that are exclusive to Patreon. I have to provide exclusive content and early access content to a lot of my supporters on Patreon, just because I don't want to do people a disservice, which is why I also tell y'all, If it's an early access video, it's, you know, and it's on Patreon for now, I tell people that, you know, like I'm not doing any tricks to just try to get you to sub to my Patreon. It's not what I do these things for, because it's clearly Patreon is if you want to support me and what I do, you know, and also receive the exclusive content when I put those videos out. So it's full on, you know, you wanting to support, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's not something I'm trying to do tricks for just to get a few extra, you know, patrons to subscribe. You know, we're not even in it for that. But at the end of the day, I really appreciate everybody that joins. I appreciate everybody here on YouTube that watches my videos constantly. And y'all always support and looking for my opinion and thoughts on, you know, these kind of matters, and especially the spiritual type videos we do as well, which I want to drop one of those this week coming up, because I got some things I just want to talk about that just has to do with life. And yeah, man, y'all already know what's going on. So with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.